Welcome to phase 3 of Scriptmas. It is day 9 and we're going to figure out where you are in this writing process. I say that because everybody has a different amount of information that they're coming into a writing project with. You might have already been thinking about this idea for a while and have some things figured out, or you might be starting from scratch. Today is when we're going to find out. So there are 6 stages to the writing process. And the first stage is ideation. This is when you are dreaming up your beautiful ideas. We've already done that process. Second is the blue sky or brainstorming phase. This is when you're figuring out the big picture elements of your series and then drilling down into your characters, the conflicts, the theme, all of that stuff, so you can really get a full idea of what story you're telling before you start breaking. If you're writing a TV series, the blue sky phase is also where you're going to get a big picture idea of your series so that you can understand how your pilot is best going to set up that series premise. Step 3 is break. This is where you decide all of the individual beats in your story from start to finish of your screenplay or your television pilot. Next is outlining. This is when you expand on your beat sheet and give yourself specific scenes, settings, and details and really flesh it out, giving yourself basically a blueprint that you can write your script off of. Next is draft. This is when you're actually writing the thing, finally. You're expanding on your outline, giving us action lines and description, beautiful dialogue, bringing the whole story to life. And then last is revision. This is where we revise, refine, and polish our script until it's ready to be shared with the world. So based on these definitions, you can probably understand which phase of the process you're in right now. But I do have a little resource in the caption that'll help you figure out which stage of the process you're in if you're writing a television show or a feature. The reason why it's helpful to center ourselves on exactly what part of the process we're in is so that we know what we can do next. I've said this before, but ambiguity is not helpful for finishing projects. Clarity is key. So if we understand where we are and we have clear action steps on what to do next, we can eliminate some of the overwhelm that comes with the process of writing an entire script. So if you're in the ideation or the blue sky phase, you're going to want to create a document that holds all of the information about your project that you know so far and establishes what you still need to figure out. Because the blue sky phase is so meaty, it can get overwhelming to figure out exactly what we know, what we don't know, what we need to figure out, and when is the right time to actually start breaking story, right? So we're just going to write it down. You're going to make a hit list. I like to create a Google Doc or in a Notion or something like that, a full document that includes everything that I know about my project. Every little idea that pops into my head that I've been like, yeah, that's a good idea. We're going to include that. Any thought goes in this document. You're going to make a list of everything that you've already decided about your project. It can be big picture. It can be specific. Nothing is too minuscule to put in this document. We just want it to live somewhere cohesive where you can go back in and find information later. So especially if you're the person that has a lot of details that come into your head early on, but it's not quite time to use those details yet, this is a great resource to keep on hand where you can just jot things down as you think of them. And then when you get into your draft, you can pull all of those details forward and incorporate the ones that make sense for your project. So first part of the document is what we know. The second part of the document is what we don't know. Make a list of all of the things you still need to figure out. This can be about the world of your series or your character's job, like, oh, I'm writing about a character that works at the JPL. What are jet propulsion labs? I don't know what those are. Figure that out, right? Anything like that can go in this document. It can also be, figure out the pilot A story, figure out your character's core want. If there's anything that comes to mind that you know you need to figure out, write it down. I think one of the most helpful things to keep in mind is that we do not have to rely on our brains to hold all of this information about our project. We can write it down somewhere. Once we have it written down, then it doesn't become this overwhelming gargantuan task of write screenplay. It becomes one specific task, figure out character A's core want. One actionable thing that I can accomplish. So in your don't know list, you're going to have all of your research questions, all of the story problems that need to get solved. All of that stuff is going to go into a document. And then what we want to do is organize it a little bit. We can rank things in kind of 2 ways. In order of operations, like, oh, before I figure out B, I need to figure out A, put them in order of that. Or you can make a list based on how much time it'll take you to complete certain things. So for example, if one of your tasks is name your antagonist, that's not going to take that long, theoretically. So that can go in your easy section, and things like figure out how character B saves character A from the volcano. That might take a little longer, right? So you can put that in your more difficult section. We'll create 3-ish groups based on how long you need to accomplish the task. So group 1 is probably going to be easy things that can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to knock off the to-do list. Section B is going to be anywhere from 10 to say 45 minutes, something that you could probably accomplish on a lunch break or a long commute. And then group 3 are going to be the biggies, things where you need a consistent period of time to really figure out, or multiple short sessions in order to figure out. These are the things that you're going to want to do before or after work, on the weekends, when you have more time to sit and focus. Does everybody need to get as detailed as this document? No. This is optional. The reason that I suggest this is for my people who are super, super busy bees. This is going to be the thing that helps you work your writing into your day-to-day schedule. If you're beg, borrowing, and stealing 5 and 10 minutes here and there while you drink your coffee, while you're on your way to work, while you're waiting for your kids to get a shot at the doctor, this list is going to be your saving grace. So when you make this list, you're going to want to separate it by time commitment, and you want to keep it somewhere portable that you always, always, always have with you. On your phone is ideal. That way, when a few minutes pops up during your day, you're not spending those 5 minutes trying to figure out what you should do. You just check the next thing off the list, spend 5 minutes thinking about it, write down your answers, and keep moving. Again, I'm going to say not everybody needs to get this kind of anal retentive about it, okay? I'm only recommending this for 2 groups of people. Group 1 are people who really like having a detailed action step plan. If you want step-by-step instructions and feel at ease having the next micro goal right in front of your face and taking all of the guesswork out of the process, this is going to be a really great thing for you to do. Or if you're really busy and you're trying to write an entire screenplay over the course of 100 10-minute sessions, this is also going to be really useful for you. Either way, I think having the general list made is going to be useful. You just don't have to get specific about organizing it or anything. Just keep it in a Google Doc. Once you know what phase of your writing process you're in and you have your list of what you know and what you don't know, then now we have a list of things that you need to tackle in the next few months to write your project. Once you work through your list of things you don't know and answered all of the major questions that you feel you need to before you start breaking your story, then you can move on to the next phase of writing. So if you're already in the draft or the revision phase of your project, you're going to want to do something similar, but it's a revision plan. Your revision plan is basically a list of revision passes that you want to do on your script. Every pass catered toward a specific thing that you're reading with an eye towards to figure out if there are things you need to change. And you're going to want to, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to tell you to make a list. You're going to make a list of all of the things you need to revise about your script and then systematically go through one after another until you've finished your revisions. You're also going to want to rank your revisions in terms of what effect they'll have on the rest of the script. If you have revisions that are going to have a big ripple effect on the rest of your script, you're going to want to do those first because there's no reason to be moving commas around when the entire scene is going to change, right? So you're also going to want to rank your revisions based on what ripple effect it'll have on the rest of the script and tackle them in that order. So when you build your writing plan, instead of slotting in things that you'll be writing, you'll be slotting in things that you need to revise for your script. That makes sense? So now that we have this information, we have a path forward. No more wandering. We know exactly where we're going next, and we're going to take that next step. So take time to create this document today, and tomorrow we will talk about the results of your time and energy audit. See you tomorrow.